some analysis. Let's turn to Max Blumenthal. He's the editor-in-chief of the Gray Zone and news website. Max, thanks for being on the program. I think Nick Harper touched on some of the topics that I wanted to discuss with you. What can really be done about this U.S. military operation, and can the United States in any way be held accountable?
Well, according to the Donro doctrine and the general ethos expressed by Donald Trump, the only thing that can be done is to deter U.S. aggression, because Donald Trump intends to go well beyond Venezuela and has said this isn't just about Maduro, it's about Cuba, it's about Colombia. He just bombed Nigeria, he's bombing Somalia, he's threatening Iran now, holding out a hat with arch neoconservative Senator Lindsey Graham on Air Force One that says, "Make Iran great again," as former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett urges or even orders Trump to attack Iran. So we're in the law of the jungle now. That's the world that Donald Trump has, I wouldn't say created, but unmasked, because we were probably already there. And countries have no choice but to deter this aggression.
Well, how do you, wait, hold on a second, Max. So how do you deter U.S. aggression, if you will?
The only deterrence that we've seen is Iran's deterrence through its ballistic missiles, which Trump has demanded they give up, or the deterrence of the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, who has nuclearized. This is pretty much the only option that countries have, or to bow to the United States financial
But doesn't that just make
order.
things more confrontational? And I mean, it's sort of a tit-for-tat situation. How does that solve anything?
Well, it doesn't solve anything, but the United States is a maritime power, and Donald Trump intends to use it to exert his will and the will of his business cronies anywhere they see fit, but specifically in the Western Hemisphere, which he has asserted control and even ownership over through the Donro doctrine.
Explain what you mean by the Donro doctrine. Our international audience may not know. It's a term that Donald Trump himself used in announcing that operation over the weekend.
Well, the Donro doctrine is a cretinous, warmongering interpretation of the Monroean doctrine invoked by U.S. President James Monroe to prevent the British or other colonial great powers from threatening the United States through Latin America. It did not give the United States control over Latin America, but in Trump's mind, it does. And so the Donro doctrine is an international precedent for the United States to kidnap any head of state and put them under trial under phony political charges, or simply assassinate them, as Israel has been doing, if it cannot get its way. And the way is whatever Donald Trump and his business cronies demand, because that goes to the essence of what Donald Trump's golden age is supposed to represent. And I want to address the indictment of Maduro. The indictment of Maduro is a phony, politicized document that would not actually stand up in a real court. It contains allegations of narco-terrorism that were introduced in 2025 relating to incidents that took place sometimes 2 decades ago outside of U.S. jurisdiction, often involving figures who are not Nicolas Maduro. They rely on coerced witnesses and
Max, I'm running out of time.
Would not hold up under international law. So this is a politicized trial that is intended to justify the Donro doctrine as some kind of aggressive enforcement of legal standards, when in fact it's pure lawlessness.
And at the end of the day, what has really changed in Venezuela? I mean, Delcy Rodriguez, a longtime Maduro ally, was either sworn in or is about to sworn in as interim president. She's now leading the government with many Maduro supporters. So what really changed?
Well, there has not been a regime change, but Donald Trump and Marco Rubio believe that they can control Rodriguez and her administration and mete out orders as colonial viceroys. And as Donald Trump has said, if she doesn't obey the United States, she will be next and will suffer a worse fate, suggesting that she will be assassinated. So every country witnessing this right now, if they have the means to deter the United States, they had better get their backs up, because Donald Trump has really lifted the mask on a very dangerous empire and signaled that it will use force to get its way. And it's the way of Trump and the business cronies who have funded his campaigns, and many or most of them are pro-Israel figures like Paul Singer, who now owns
right, Max.
Venezuela's largest asset, Citgo.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Max Blumenthal, thank you.